Hello, this is Nick Rabbits with Limerick Leader. I'm just with the Mayor of Limerick, Councillor Michael Collins, as he finishes this year in office. He's just going to be reflecting on his highlights of the year.
Yeah, it was a very strange year. When I became mayor, I thought that maybe at the end of the summer that we'd be free of COVID. I was very much wrong because at that point we were coming out of a lockdown in June. Then we had a number of months, and then we led up to Christmas, and then we faced a major lockdown in the new year at the start of 2021. So that was very, very strange.
How have you found it?
I've quite enjoyed it. It was a very humbling experience to become mayor and to get around the county and the city and meet all the various community groups and do lots of online openings and virtual openings. It's been different but very enjoyable.
So in this period, you really have had to show leadership, because I know people have come to you to look for direction and leadership in terms of this. Like, you're telling people to keep going and we'll get through this. How have you found that? You must have felt an extra responsibility on your shoulders, I would imagine.
Yeah, I suppose I was called upon, like all the other agencies. Limerick City and County Council have been to the fore when it came to COVID, and we've had the HSE, the UL Hospital Group, An Garda Síochána, Public Health, the government, calling on Limerick. I suppose there was a big spotlight on Limerick, call on Limerick, on the Limerick people, I suppose, to find strength and determination to, at various stages, to get the numbers down where we were creeping up a little bit. So I, as Mayor and the First Citizen, did take leadership and hopefully showed decent leadership and calling for the people to support what we were trying to do. And in fairness, the Limerick people were very resilient and they did show leadership as well. They came on board and we got the numbers down where they should be. So,
12 months, I know you've, a lot of it has been stymied, if you like, with the pandemic, but tell me, let's go through your highlights. Tell me about some of your highlights, if you would.
Yeah, so there were lots of highlights. We had, I suppose, on the economic side, one of the big ones was the official start of the opera site, which is a 180 million centre city project, mixed use development. So I was there for the start of that and to see the contractors go on site and knock the first bricks off the wall. So that was quite a special moment. Then we had, I suppose, the Cleeve site as well, which is another city centre development. And I was there for the launch of the planning process, where the Cleeve site now will be rolled out as well. Closer to home, of course, we've had the Regional Athletics Hub, the Newcastle West Regional Athletics Hub, and that's a project that has taken 7 years. And I was to the forefront of that project with the chairman, Jim Galvin, and the local working committee, who have been very patient and hardworking. So that was a huge project for me personally in my hometown in Newcastle West, and that work has now started as well. We turned the sod on that about 3 weeks ago, and that will be of huge benefit to athletics and to sport, not just in County Limerick, but parts of North Cork and North Kerry as well will feed into that part of West Limerick.
Important to turn the side in your year in office. I know first and foremost you are a councillor for Newcastle West, secondly you're the mayor.
Yeah, so it was I suppose a double whammy that I got, which was very, very positive. And I actually thought when I became the mayor that I'd be opening the facility. So it took 12 months to actually start the facility. But again, I was glad to be able to get that, to turn the first sod in the development. So that was a special moment.
Back in, feels like a long time ago now, but it was only 6 months ago, back in December. Our hurlers once again secured the Holy Grail. A very different occasion to 2018 when they brought home Liam McCarthy. Rather than being in Croke Park as you normally would have been as the mayor, you had to watch it on television. Tell me about how that all went.
Yeah, so that was quite strange as well. My family would be big GA supporters, so it was special, I suppose, having Limerick back in an All-Ireland final. We didn't expect to have an All-Ireland final in December. I was disappointed as mayor that I wasn't physically there, but again, because of public guidelines and COVID restrictions, we weren't allowed to go. But of course, it was very, very special, to spend it at home with my family and to see Limerick bring the cup back for the third time in its history.
I imagine that's probably one of the regrets, not being able to welcome them back home to Colbert Station, but do you have any other regrets from your year in office?
No, I don't really have any regrets because I was it was a difficult year for lots of people all over the country, and in particular in Limerick as well. I managed not to contract COVID. I didn't lose any person from COVID, so that was very important. I'm conscious that we did lose lots of people throughout the city and county due to COVID during the year. So I have to be thankful, that nobody close to me passed because of COVID. And as I say, I'm conscious of the people that did pass and the people that did get COVID. So I don't have any regrets. I didn't know what to expect as mayor, so it was very new for me. And I went with the flow, and I was quite happy to do that.
I mean, we have been up and down. I think when you first started, numbers were coming down. Then obviously we had the second wave, and then the third wave ultimately at Christmas and into the new year. That must have been particularly frustrating, because you must have thought at various points during your mayoralty, look, I might be able to finally get out and enjoy this now, and see more people that I would like to see as first citizen.
Yeah, there were various points in the year that I thought, when the figures were going down, that we'd come out of lockdown and that I would get on the road and get out and meet the community groups and do the typical mayoral duties that would be expected of a mayor. That didn't happen, but over the past 3 or 4 weeks it has happened hugely, and I've been out meeting community groups and traversing the city and the county, particularly meeting GA clubs. So that has been a huge challenge, but very rewarding to meet the club officers, club committees. It's great to see the kids back playing games again, and huge work has gone on around the county into club development and pitch development and community walkways. So huge, I suppose a huge thank you to all the clubs for doing that, and helping out their communities as well in these COVID times.
The immense effort that has gone in. I mean, it just shows people are giving up of their time, more than above and beyond the call of duty, really.
Yeah, well, look, again, one of the things I wanted to do was to acknowledge all the community groups and volunteers that got involved in the Limerick COVID response. And Limerick City and County Council were the first authority in the country to lead out in the COVID crisis response. And that was hugely supported by all communities across the city and the county. We had the likes of An Garda Síochána, the HSE, Livable Limerick, Limerick GA, which were a huge support of it, Thomond Rugby, and the soccer clubs as well as just basic community groups. Even down to Tidy Towns groups got involved in their communities, helping out with the COVID response, meeting the elderly and the vulnerable across the city and the county.
Is there anything you might have done differently during a year in office?
No, I haven't thought about that. As I said, I've gone with the flow. I suppose the big task throughout the year was the online meetings, which was very difficult on I as mayor and the members, and of course the executive as well. That was a new departure for us. It was very challenging, but I have to compliment the members. We managed to get our business done efficiently and effectively throughout the year. We didn't have too many arguments, which was good as well. As mayor, I tried to be impartial and tried to support all councillors, and I think I've pretty much achieved that. I hope the members will agree with me. Maybe we've had a couple of skirmishes, but they weren't too serious, and that's the cut and thrust of politics on a weekly basis.
Would you have liked to maybe have had a wee bit longer to put your own stamp on the mayoralty?
Of course I would. I'd love another year or 2 or 3, but the nature of it is that we've a new mayor coming in next week. So I was very blessed and privileged to become the mayor of Limerick. I've done my year, and now I'll have to step back come next Wednesday, and the new mayor will be elected, and I will support that mayor as an elected representative and as a councillor.
What would you have liked to have done if you would have had various decision-making powers? Is there anything that you would have liked to have changed about Limerick in the last year?
Well, I've been part of the directly elected mayor working group, and that has been chaired by Tim O'Connor, so I had a huge input on that as one of the members of the group. And we have, I think, put a very good working document in. It would be nice to be able to have, I suppose, your own budget within the county to spend it locally rather than depending on national funding all the time. But I think, Nick, that we've done well for national funding. We've had huge grants come down from government in the past 12 months. So I cannot complain really. Looking forward to the DEM when that happens. Looking forward to an election, first of all, when it happens. Looking forward to a new DEM and working with them and the powers that they will have in how Limerick will develop from here out. It's a very exciting time in Limerick because there's a lot happening. So I have to thank the council, as we currently are, for doing lots of work. We have Limerick 2030 leading out lots of developments in the city as well. And I think we have other local authorities and counties that are very envious of what we do here in Limerick.
You did meet the local government minister earlier in the week, Peter Burke. I mean, how would you assess the progress around the directly elected mayor?
So he explained to us last Monday that there's a huge body of work that has to go through the various stages of the Dáil. Their challenge now is to get the DEM and how the DEM will work and get that legislation into the queue, into the system. And then will be debated on the Dáil, and it will go through the various stages of the Dáil and then out the other side. So it's slower than what we expected. We were trying to get some information from the minister on when that might happen. He expects that to happen maybe late autumn. So I don't foresee a directly elected mayoral election until probably next summer, which will be 2022. It even may run to 2024 to the start of the next local election.
What makes you say that?
Well, we have to see where COVID leads us. We're not finished with COVID, so we will have to be in a safe environment. So at least we can accept there won't be a directly elected mayoral election this year. He's saying maybe 2022. I think that's ambitious, but we'll have to go with the flow again and see when it happens. We'll just deal with it.
You've never been shy about wanting to put yourself forward. I mean, and you are ambitious. Is it a role that you'd be interested in doing yourself potentially?
I wouldn't rule it out, but obviously I have to get a party nomination first of all. My, I suppose, ambition was to get into the mayoral position, which I've done, and I had a very busy year. And next week I'll be back doing my basic constituency work again and working hard for my constituents that I quite enjoy doing. And then when the mayoral election, the directly elected mayoral election will come about, I'll have to give it some serious thought.
And something else very important, given that it is, you have to give 100% to the role of first citizen. You couldn't do it without your family. They're key. I mean, your wife and children. I mean, how important have they been across the last year?
Hugely important. It's great to have somebody at home when you come home late at night or when you're up early in the morning and you're facing a long day's work. It's great to have those people to speak to. So I want to thank them for their support. And my mother as well, who's still alive, Helen Harty at 94. She's been a good support as well. People
don't often associate the mayoralty with Limerick City, but you're obviously from Killeedy, from the parish of Killeedy. It must have been a massive honour to put on the robe and chains. I mean, you are a Limerick man ultimately. Yeah,
look, I've said throughout my term as mayor that I think we should probably get away from the term mayor of Limerick City and County. I see it as one county, and it's the county of Limerick incorporating the city and all the various towns and villages within and the rural locations as well. So I'd like to see the term being used a lot more as Mayor of Limerick. So it was a very proud moment for me as a Killeedy man to become mayor, and I was very humbled as well, to have lots of interaction with city and projects and that, as well as the county. So I got a huge insight into how the city works and have the experience of the county as well.
In March, obviously, we had a shock when Forbes published that article about Limerick. There was a massive response here in Limerick, and you were to the forefront of it. You were, I think, like everyone else here, horrified by it.
Yeah, when that story broke late on a Friday evening, I was, I suppose, horrified to read what was coming across on social media, particularly on Twitter. And to read that article by Forbes was very damning and very damaging to Limerick. And it wasn't a true reflection of the new Limerick and the Limerick we have now. So we set about, a crusade, I suppose, to take on Forbes, and they eventually did agree that what was printed was not fair. They didn't come out with an outright apology, but I think we got a huge result when they did say that they would travel to Limerick when COVID allows, and they would set up some sort of a foundation, a 30 under 30 project, which will attract Limerick entrepreneurs. So I felt that was a huge result. It was something that was really negative and damaging for Limerick, that it could be a really positive result, and we hopefully will have another multi-millionaire entrepreneurs coming out of Limerick in the years ahead from that.
I mean, does it still stick with you, I guess, that there wasn't a proper full apology for it and acknowledgement that...
Well, we set out initially for an apology, but I think it developed into something far greater than apology. So by them agreeing to come to Limerick and setting up some sort of a foundation for this 30 under 30 entrepreneurs, I think that's very significant, and I think that's far greater than any apology. You know, if some young person or persons can benefit from that in the years ahead, I think it will be a legacy that we can leave behind us.
And it just shows again the spirit of Limerick people, because like literally within an hour or two of it going up, less than an hour, I'd say it was taken down.
Yeah, well, there was a huge outpouring from Limerick people, not just Limerick people in Limerick, but Limerick people right across the world. I was absolutely flabbergasted by the amount of support and I suppose the fight back against Forbes and what was printed. I think it made Forbes stand up and see like this, what they printed was a complete mistake, and that the Limerick people are strong and resilient, not just in our sport, but in our way of how we do business as well. So it was a huge result for Limerick.
We've spoken about your family already, but there's also a lot of other people who have helped you make your mayoralty a success. Would you like to tell me a bit about a few of them?
Yeah, well, look, I have to thank the council here, the council members, who are hugely important to how we do our business. I've seen a different insight completely into the workings, the inner workings of how the council management and all the teams here, all the personnel here in both City Hall and County Hall. And of course we can't forget the outdoor staff that do huge work right across the city and the county as well. So I want to thank them sincerely for supporting me as mayor and looking after the mayoral office all year. I want to thank personally Eleanor Buckley, who was the mayoral secretary out here. She's a phenomenal girl. She did great work as well. Kept me on my toes, kept my diary full, kept it active the whole time, which was great. And I also want to thank, I suppose, the likes of yourself, Nick, all the media across Limerick. I know we had lots of interaction with national media, but it's the local media that we have to thank mostly, because that's where we get most of our interaction with. And it's a two-way street. And I have been treated very well by the media at all times, and I had a great year. So thank you for your support as well, and everybody in the media.